Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Sure, Narottamam Prabhuji. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Today we are reading 6th Canto, Chapter 12, Vrutrasura's Glorious Death from text 24 to 35. Text 24. O Maharaj Parikshit, Vrutrasura, who was completely able to subdue his enemy, took his iron club, whirled it around, aimed it at Indra, and then threw it at him with his left hand. Text 25. With his thunderbolt named Shataparvan, Indra simultaneously cut to pieces Vrutrasura's club and his remaining hand. Text 26. Vrutrasura, bleeding profusely, his two arms cut off at their roots, looked very beautiful, like a flying mouse whose wings have been cut to pieces by Indra. Text 27 to 29. Vrutrasura was very powerful in physical strength and influence. He placed his lower jaw on the ground and his upper jaw in the sky. His mouth became very deep like the sky itself, and his tongue resembled like a large serpent. With his fearful death like teeth, he seemed to be trying to devour the entire universe. Thus, assuming a gigantic body, the great demon Rudrasura shook even the mountains and began crushing the surface of the earth with his legs as if he were the Himalayas walking about. He, he came before Indra and swallowed him, and Airavata, his carrier, just as big as Python, might swallow an elephant. Text 30. When the demigods, along with Brahma, other Prajapatis, and other great saintly persons, saw that Indra had been swallowed by the demon, they became very morose. Alas, they lamented. What a calamity! What a calamity! Text 31. The protective armor of Narayana, which Indra possessed, was identical with Narayana himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Protected by that armor and by his own mystic power, King Indra, although swallowed by Vrutrasura, did not die within the demon's belly. Text 32. With his thunderbolt, King Indra, who was extremely powerful, pierced through Vrutrasura's abdomen and cut and came out. Indra, the killer of demon Bala, then immediately cut off Vrutrasura's head, which was as high as the peak of a mountain. Text 33. Although the thunderbolt revolved around Vrutrasura's neck with great speed, separating his head from the body, took one complete year, 360 days, the time in which the sun, moon, and other luminaries complete a northern and southern journey. Then at the suitable time for then at the suitable time for Vrutrasura to be killed, the head fell off the ground. Text 34. When Vrutrasura was killed, the Gandharvas and the Siddhas in the heavenly planets beat kettle drums in jubilation. With Vedic hymns, they celebrated the prowess of Indra, the killer of Vrutrasura, praising Indra and showering flowers upon him with great pleasure. Text 35. O King Parishit, subduer of enemies, the living spark then came forth from Vrutrasura's body and returned home back to Godhead. While all demigods looked on, he entered the transcendental world to become an associate of Lord Shankarshana. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pradeep Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Yeah, Hare Krishna Kirtan Prabhu. Whenever you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna dear devotees, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you, Pradeep Prabhu, for reading the translation today. And thank you, devotees, for joining the call today. Let me offer my prayers. Mumagyantimirandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmalitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshitarine जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम राम हरे Thank you, Sundaranand Prabhuji, for providing me this opportunity to discuss the Srimad Bhagavatam for the pleasure of devotee and for my own purification. So, today we are in the section of Vratrasura glorious death. And this is the last section. And in this entire section, we have only one purport, which is the last verse, 35th. So, which will be the purport to read today. And I'll just give the little background what we have heard so far. So, in the last chapter, we have heard about the transcendental qualities of Ritrasura. So, despite being in the demonic body, his actions, words resemble the qualities of a great devotee. He has a firm faith in the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, because Lord Vishnu said that he will be killed by the Indra, um, by Vajra, the thunderbolt made by the Dadichis Muni's bone. And he tried to convince his level best to Indra to strike him with the Vajra. But when he could not convince Indra, he began praying to Lord Vishnu. He glorified Lord Vishnu and shows his complete dependence and his service attitude towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vritrasura then released his trident, that was the first attack from Vritrasura's side, towards Indra with great anger. But Indra broke it using his thunderbolt and cut off the Vritrasura one arm. And out of anger, Vritrasura, with his remaining arm, he attacked again Indra. He struck Indra this time with the iron mace and which caused the thunderbolt to fall from the Indra's hand onto the ground. And ashamed, Indra did not pick up the thunderbolt at this time, even after the request of Vritrasura, because Vritrasura was requesting him, pick up this thunderbolt and fight, but he did not. Then Vritrasura spoke to Indra and gave him instructions. He instructed the glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead to Indra. He mentioned that Supreme Personality of Godhead is cause of all causes. Without his will, even a single leaf of a tree will not move. He is the supreme enjoyer. But while fools thinks that they are the enjoyer because of their false identity, he is the only supreme enjoyer, and all the living beings and this cosmic manifestation is meant to be enjoyed by him. So the fools who thinks that this material creation is meant for their enjoyment, and they try to lord it over this material nature because of their false identity, and then they are ignoring the hand of the Supreme Lord. And for such fools, they experience the fear, happiness, distress, and impurity as a result of their thought process, their conviction that they are lording this material nature, and their disbelief their disbelief in Supreme Lord, and they don't want to take the surrender to the Supreme Lord, but instead they are taking the surrender to Lord's external energy. So, in this way, Vritrasura and King Indra spoke about devotional service, even on the battlefield. And then, as a matter of duty, as Sundaram Prabhu explained very beautifully, because even at the face of death, in the face of death, Vritrasura did not forget his duty. He was so dutiful. So, as a matter of duty, they again begin fighting. So text 24. So Vritrasura now again strike his iron club to aim at Indra and threw him with his left hand. Text 25 talk about Indra cut the Vritrasura club into pieces using his thunderbolt and also cut his remaining arm. In text 26, now Sukdev Goswami describing Parikshit Maharaj, the beautiful scene there. Now, because we know Vritrasura's body was so huge, which resembled like a mountain. And as Indra cut both the hands, giant hand from the Vritrasura body, now Vritrasura looks like a flying Himalaya with the whose wings have been cut. Even though Vritrasura was bleeding heavily, but he resembled like a beautiful flying mountain. That's what Sukadeva Goswami is trying to describe Parikshit Maharaj, that scene. In text 27 and text 29, as you know, Vritrasura was so huge and powerful that he resembled like a walking Himalayan mountain. He was crushing the surface. He was crushing the surface, shaking the entire earth and all the mountains, and he opened his mouth. And with his lower jaw was touching the earth, and his upper jaw was touching the sky. And he opened his mouth very deep, and his tongue resembled like a serpent with death-like teeth. And he was trying to devour the entire universe. And then he suddenly swallowed Indra and Airavat, just like a giant python. So, with this text verse, we should understand one thing here with the thunderbolt, so that Indra can follow the instruction of the Supreme Lord. Prabhuji, I'm still audible because I see some internet connection issue in my.
Yeah, only like 5 seconds we lost you, but you're okay, bro, now. Yeah.
Okay. So we need to understand one thing here, that Vritrasura tried his best to convince Indra to strike him with the thunderbolt and so that he can follow the instruction of Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, due to the lack of Indra's faith in Supreme Lord's word and also Indra's failure, because at the first attempt when Indra strike Vritrasura, catch that armor and then strike him back. Correct. So Indra faced the failure in his first attempt. So that's why he was afraid of being failed again. And this was because Indra, in his mindset, he was thinking that he is the true doer. He is the doer and he is responsible, and he was not seeing the Lord's hand in this all activity because of his false ego. So when Indra was not convinced, Vritrasura prayed to Supreme Lord, and he reflected his devotion, true desire to return back home, back to Godhead. Then he instructed Indra about the Lord's glory, so that he can invoke the Indra's consciousness, so that he can invoke Indra's consciousness can be awakened after all his effort to invoke Indra's belief in the words of Supreme Lord. Vritrasura again resumed fighting, and this time he swallowed Indra. So that out of fear, the thought process was out of fear, Indra might use the thunderbolt to strike him. In the text 30, when the demigod, along with Brahma, other Prajapati, and other great saints, saw that Indra had been swallowed by the demon, they become morose. They say, alas, what a calamity. They started lamenting situation outwardly. They from outwardly appearance, it looked Vritrasura killed King Indra. He swallowed him. But None of them was aware the real intention of Vritrasura, what he is going through in his mind, what he want actually. Nobody was understanding the desire of Vritrasura. Text 31, although Indra was swallowed by Vritrasura, but he did not die within even in the demon's belly because of the protection of the Narayana Kavacha. So, because he received the Narayana Kavacha, if we remember, when Vishwarupa was doing the yajna, he got the Indra got the Narayana Kavacha as a gift from the Vritrasura, so from Vishwarupa, and for the protection of the demigods and Indra. So Narayana Kavacha is none other than Narayan himself. So because he was protected, Indra was protected by the Narayana Kavacha, that is why he did not die even within the belly of the demon. Text 32. To save himself, now Indra used his thunderbolt. Finally, he used his thunderbolt, which is extremely powerful as we know. It has the power and purity of the Dadichi's Muni's bone. And because the Dadichi Muni has done a lot of penances and austerity, so it has power, it has the power of his penances and austerity, and it has the purity. And it was built by the Vishwakarma. Through that thunderbolt, he pierced through the Vritrasura abdomen and he came out. And immediately he cut off Vritrasura head. And then Sukadeva Goswami is reflecting again that Vritrasura head was like was very high, like a peak of a mountain. So here in this verse, Indra has been designated by the killer of Bala, because in past Indra killed the Bala who was the son of a Mayadanava. So I would like to connect this verse with the purport given by Srila Prabhupada in the previous chapter of the 20th verse. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that killing Vritrasura, Indra will not gain anything. He will not be the true victorious. He would still remain in this material world. He will still keep on ruling the heavenly planet. However, Vritrasura would go to spiritual world. So real victory was destined for Vritrasura, not for Indra. And we have seen in the many pages of Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, that real mercy of Krishna appears to the devotee when Krishna wrecked devotees materially. In this way, Krishna is removing all the material impediments from devotee's life so that he can fully surrender. And we have an example to our Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. He tried many years in India to promote Back to Godhead magazine, to promote Krishna consciousness in India, but at the same time he was running his business in Allahabad. But he was not getting the success at that time. He was not able to convince that crowd at that moment. But he was praying to Lord immensely. He was praying to Krishna for the mercy. And then finally the Krishna mercy came. Then he got a lot of losses in his business. He completely shut down his business. And then at the age of 70, he traveled to America because of the instruction of his guru. And then within 10 years, he opened 108 temples. And also from the Shastra, we have a story of a hog. Once upon a time, Indra forced to take a body of a hog, and he was enjoying his life materially. He has his children, his wife, and he was eating his stool. He was living the filthy life, but he was happy because of the attachment, because he was conditioned in this material world. He was working under the mode of this three modes of this material nature. Once Brahma came down and told him to go back and accept your heavenly position as a king and leave this filthy life. But Indra denied Brahma's instruction and request because he said he is happy. He is attached with his family. He cannot leave his family and he cannot come with Brahmaji. So to bring Indra back to heavenly planet What Brahmaji did? Brahmaji killed his children, killed his wife. He cut the knot of the material bondage. And then, when Indra deprived, then he agreed to go back to heavenly kingdom and took his original position. He traveled back with Brahmaji. So similarly, in practicing devotee's life, that role, the mercy, Krishna's mercy came in the manner of, in the hands of Guru in our life. And with the Guru's instruction, if we follow the Guru's instruction, our spiritual master's instruction, or our Shiksha Guru instruction, the bondage, the knots of material bondage, he will cut, he will shatter those bondage, he will cut those bondage so that we can free from this material bondage and we can progress fast in the spiritual consciousness of Krishna consciousness. Text 33, to separate the head from his body, it took Indra complete 1 year, 360 days of earthly calendar year, time in which sun, moon, and other luminaries complete a northern and southern journey. Even though Thunderbolt was revolving around the neck with a great speed, but at a suitable time, his head fall down to the ground. Text 34, when Vritrasura was killed, then Gandharvas, Siddhas, and other inhabitants from the upper planetary system started celebrating the victory of Indra. With a great jubilation, they praise Indra and shower the flower upon him. And I think the same thing we do in our material world. Whenever we saw anyone's did have some great work, we celebrate that victory. We praise him. We garland him. So similar thing, Gandharvas and Siddhas and other inhabitants of upper planetary system celebrated the victories of Indra because they were perceiving this situation from the outwardly perspective. They did not know who achieved the real victory. They don't know. So text 35, the last text of today's discussion. I will read the verse. I'll read the basically the text. व्रत व्रत्राशया देहा निष्कर्तम् आत्मज्योते अरिन्दमा पाशतं सर्वदेवानम् आलोकं समापदायता. So alokam means supreme abode. So Sukdev Goswami confirmed to Parikshit Maharaj that living spark then come forth from the Vritrasura body and return home back to Godhead. While all the demigod also looked upon, and he entered the transcendental world to become an associate of the Lord Sankarsana. And so this is the only purport. So I would like devotee to take some time out to read this purport, where Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained that Vritrasura was not actually killed by Indra. After swallowing Indra, he went to the trance to meditate on Supreme Lord by suspending his all bodily activity and taking advantage of the silence of Vritrasura body. Indra pierced the demon's abdomen, and because of Vritrasura trance, Indra was able to come out. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained that Vritrasura was in a yoga samadhi at that time. That's why his neck was so stiff that it took, even though that thunderbolt was, he was running that thunderbolt, moving that thunderbolt with a speed, very great speed. It took him almost 360 days. And actually he left the body. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is explaining, he already left the body, which was cut by Indra into pieces. He went back home, back to Godhead already in his original consciousness, and he became the associate of the Lord Sankarsana. So what Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is telling, when Indra was trying to cut his neck, at that time he was in a trance, he was in yoga samadhi, and he already left to the spiritual planet, and he already become the associate of the Lord Sankarsana. That is the reason this neck was stiff. And we'll hear like that Indra identified Vritrasura original position as a Brahmana. When Indra heard the Vritrasura prayers, he realized his true position. That is the reason Indra initially refused to kill Vritrasura. But demigod encouraged him because Indra has a protection of Narayana Kavacha. So why you need to worry about Indra? You have a direct protection of Narayana. You can kill Indra. You can kill Vritrasura and you will not get any sin because you are protected. So following the demigod instruction, finally King Indra convinced and fought with the Vritrasura. And when Vritrasura was killed, everyone in the demigod planet was satisfied. They started celebrating with jubilation, and they they but except one person, who is Indra, who was not satisfied, who was extremely feeling ashamed. He was feeling ashamed, regretful, because he recognized the Vritrasura true position. So in the next chapter, we will see how Indra become afflicted by the sinful reactions of killing a Brahmana and what action he took to release from the reaction of his sins. But before we will conclude today's section, I would like to go through the takeaway from this Vritrasura story. Prabhuji, please do let me know if um, my screen is
Yeah,
visible.
we
That
can see
slide
your
is visible.
screen, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, what are the key takeaways from the Vritrasura story? That true devotion is beyond external action. So, let's meditate few minutes on that. So, we should never judge a person by outwardly appearance because in this story, outwardly, Vritrasura was a demon, but internally, inwardly, he was a great devotee. So we have a great saying in English, don't judge a book by its cover. Sometime we need to look below the surface. So when we, as a practicing devotee, when we deal with many in our different interaction, when we deal with the devotees or different devotees or any material person, we should not judge person's action by externally because we don't know what is the intentions behind it. So that's the second point come. Avoid judging others. Sometimes actions don't align with the intentions. The action of Vratrasura caused chaos, but his true intentions was go back home, back to Godhead. That is was his true intentions. So if we meditate on these 2 points, so I was hearing one lecture shared by Harinam Kirtan Prabhu from Maharaj. One devotee asked Maharaj, Radhanath Swami Maharaj, like when we have the association with the devotee, sometime when we very close to the devotee, we start judging the devotee. We start finding good also and also start finding the fault in the devotee's activity. How to deal with such situations. So Maharaj answered this question very beautifully. What Maharaj said, that think about it. First of all, human birth is very rare. And on top of it, a person who is following the Krishna consciousness, who is following the devotional practice, is even rare. And now we are under the Sangha, in the association. We are under the shower of this Krishna consciousness and we are trying to cleanse our all sins. So one person, one devotee can be in that shower from maybe from last 20 years and another person just joined that shower maybe recently. So, but we need to be grateful that we are together and we are trying. Our intentions are good, that we want to progress in the Krishna consciousness. We want to cleanse our sins. But one may see that, one may observe that that dirt is coming out from one's body. One may observe that. But we should not see the dirt. We should not see the dirt, that dirt is coming out. We should see that devotee is getting cleansed. He's improving day by day. He's getting mature in the Krishna consciousness. He's getting mature in the devotional practice. And if we have a good relationship with the devotee and we are having an authority, then what we can do? We can chastise that devotee. That's what Maharaj said. If we are not an authority, we have a good relation with the devotee, we can provide the guidance to the devotee. And if we don't have that also, then we can pray to Krishna. And also we need to neglect these qualities because sometimes we don't know the intentions behind that act. We always need to appreciate the good qualities of the devotee because we need to think, we need to introspect ourselves. Maybe down the line, 5 years back, down the line, we are also in the same page. We also have faced the same situations. We also commit those mistakes in our life, but now we improved. So either we can sympathize with that devotee, we can pray to Krishna so that Krishna can help that devotee, and sometime might be devotee doing that activity because of some other intentions. So in everyday's our life, we may encounter individual actions whose actions are harsh and misguided. So so we should avoid criticizing and condemning them immediately. We should we should avoid these kind of activity. And it is better to pause and reflect on their underlying intention or struggle. They might be going through some personal challenges or may yet to be aware of the consciousness of their actions. So what we can do in this situation, Maharaj said, we can pray to Lord. We can sympathize with them. And if we are in the position, we have a good relation, we can guide. Or if we are authority, then we can chastise also to the devotee. So, so this teaching that avoid judging other or devotional is beyond external action encourages us to practice the empathy and understanding the intention beyond external action, and we should be non-judgmental in our intentions. That will help us out in a long run. Then the third point is devotion is never wasted, and also faith in divine will. So in this story, Vritrasura showed complete faith in the Lord Vishnu plan, even in the face of death. Vritrasura showed complete surrenderance to the Supreme Lord, and we can reflect that with his best prayers. In his prayers, he mentioned he doesn't need heaven, he doesn't need Brahmaloka, he doesn't need Dhruvaloka, even he doesn't want a moksha, he doesn't want liberation. His only true desire to serve the lotus feet of the Lord, so that he can return back home, back to Godhead, and he can serve the lotus feet of the Lord directly. And he was contemplating always how can he serve the lotus feet of the eternal servant of the Lord, Dasa Anudasa. The goal is to always think of the Lord and engage the body, word, and mind, aiming to be constantly absorbed in the remembrance of the service of the Supreme. And Lord Krishna mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 2.4 that even a little advancement on the path of Krishna consciousness, Lord will protect us. Lord will protect one from the dangerous type of fear. And devotion account is an eternal account. Devotion will never lose. We can see in the story of Chitraketu Maharaj. Chitraketu Maharaj was a great devotee who is a Vritrasura in this life, current life, but he offended Mother Parvati. Because of that offense, he fell down. He got cursed, and then he took a demonic body. But his devotion was not lost. He is still a devotee in a demonic body, and Indra also recognized with his actions, with his prayers, that he is a devotee. That's why he refused not to kill him. So, with this lesson, what we learn, surrender to Supreme Lord is the ultimate path to the spiritual progress. And then the next important point, lesson is respect for spiritual guidance. If we contemplate on this story, where this story all started. Indra faced all these struggle because he did not honor his spiritual guru, Brahaspati. And later, he committed another grave offense of killing a Brahmana, Vishwarupa. This is a serious offense as it goes against to the fundamental principle of respecting the spiritual master and the laws of protection of Brahmanas. So, as a practicing devotee, what lesson we should learn? We must be extremely careful in maintaining the proper Vaishnava etiquettes. The story of Indra reflects us how a single deviation from this principle can lead to the immense struggle and suffering in one's life. Even a small lapse in our spiritual conduct can have a significant consequences. And so it is very crucial. It is very crucial to stay aligned with the proper devotional etiquettes, practices to avoid such pitfall. And if we look that Vritrasura ultimate goal was to serve the lotus feet of Lord in the face of death. And his intentions from the beginning till the end was the same because he has a complete surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the last point is humility, detachment, dutifulness, and service. All these four qualities was there in the Vritrasura dealing in this situation. So true spiritual progress comes from the humility. So in the summary, the story of Vritrasura teaches us profound lesson on the surrender, humility, the importance of spiritual guidance, faith in the supreme will, power of pure devotion, and respect for spiritual guidance, and also dutifulness, and there are other qualities. So I would like to pause here, and if I have committed any mistake, please forgive me as your humble servant. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna dear devotees. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hare Krishna Kirtan Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.